Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 51 and officially the start of season 2 here of the Debt Free Dad podcast. Well guys, it is official. 2020 is gone forever. Can we get a round of applause from everybody, right? And 2021 is officially here, and today we're going to be sharing tips on how to crush your finances here in the new year. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Debt Free Dad podcast, where we're helping normal, everyday people learn how to save money and kick debt so they can live a happier and stress-free life. Now here's your host, Debt Free Dad, Brad Nelson.
Hey, everybody. Happy New Year. Welcome back to the show. You can find me on Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, and Instagram. Just search Brad Nelson, Debt Free Dad. And it's great to be back. We are in season 2, and we had so much fun last year, and we've been getting so many great pieces of feedback from our audience on you guys getting your awesome wins. So we are excited to do this again. And Ryan and Amber, welcome back. Glad to see you guys.
I'm pumped to be here.
Yeah,
I'm pumped for a new year.
So being that it's a new year, let me ask you guys, and I know I asked you guys this last year on last year's New Year's show, but what New Year's resolutions do you guys have this year? Any you care to show or share?
I want to save a ton of money. I got to make that a goal because I got to make it more measurable.
I am not I probably used to be a big resolution fan. I mean, I'd love to say I want to get healthier and lose weight, but I think that's been my resolution for like 10 years now. I kind of go up and down through the year for that. So I don't know. I'm not a big, I guess I don't put a lot of thought on the resolution side of things.
Yeah, I'm actually the same way. I have like no resolutions going into next year. So I think for me, I think if I had to pick something, it would be like, let's just shoot for some consistency, right? After 2020 and all the chaos that we all went through, it would just be nice just to have a little bit of consistency. I would be happy with that. That would be really, really good. But, with a new year though, comes these New Year's resolutions. And a lot of people take this as an opportunity to say, what are some things that I would love to improve in my life? And for many people, money and personal finances is one of the leading resolutions. Get your finances under control or get them organized, maybe paying off debt, maybe saving money. And for many people who went through, obviously 2020 and the pandemic, and, I think a lot of people realized that their finances were a pretty vulnerable thing in their life, and it probably woke a lot of people up like, maybe I need to work a little bit on this stuff. So the cool part about 2021 is obviously with a vaccine coming out, hopefully we're kind of seeing the end of COVID here in 2021 at some point, right? That's the goal. But the cool part is that for a lot of people, this could be a great comeback year. And today, what we're going to talk a little bit about is, just some things that you should be starting to think about. And if you've been listening to our show in the past, we're going to be hitting on some tips that we've shared already, but it's a good time just to kind of, sit down and really make a plan to figure out what does 2021 look like for us. And, if you had to say, where do I want to be 1 year from now? Exactly 1 year from now, what would make it a great year as it relates to your finances? Maybe it's, saving a certain amount of money. Maybe it's paying off debt, whatever it might be. But right now is the time to kind of think about what that's going to be. And then how can we break that goal down throughout the year so you can reach that? So a couple of things that we want to share as you get started is that, especially when it comes to your finances, is that we talk a lot about this, that it's not in the what, it's going to be in the why. And if you want to improve your finances, is if you want to reduce financial stress, if you want to get on the same page with a partner or spouse, whatever it might be, you really got to kind of drill down a little bit and figure out why it is that you want to do that. I share this a lot on this show, but one of the reasons I got out of debt is because, number one, I wanted to be a better example to my kids. And number two, I wanted to eventually change careers. I wanted to open my own business, but at least maybe even have a job that I enjoy doing would be awesome, right? So those were two really big motivating factors for me, and that's what kind of kept me going, is because I didn't really want to be stuck. Not that I had a horrible job, because it was a great job, but it wasn't just something that I really wanted to do anymore. But I had just so much debt and so many payments, like I was stuck. So for me, a driving why in my life was just, I wanted to be a better example to my kids. I wanted to be able to show them how to do this stuff so they didn't have to struggle like I did. and I want to get on my job.
I think this is the step that if you're just starting out, for us, it was kind of, I remember years ago kind of had this moment of like, oh crap, we're in trouble. Like we need to really start like figuring this stuff out. And the first thing that we did and that we continued to do for a while was we just started like just trying to pay off debt, just start doing it. Like I'm going to sell this, I'm going to do this. And you kind of overreact and you just start, trying to make progress. And maybe you do for a month or two and it feels good, but you're at the store and there's this really cool stereo or radio or new iPhone you want. And it's like, yeah, well, go ahead and buy that. And it's like, we never really took the time to sit down and figure out why we're doing this. What's the purpose? What do we want to accomplish long-term? And so it made it very difficult for us to say no or to kind of keep ourselves in check because yeah, we wanted to be out of debt, but it was just like, yeah, it'd be cool, but it was so easy to throw it away when we didn't really have a solid plan as a family. And as my wife and I, as we sat down together, like, what are we really trying to accomplish? So I think if you're starting out, this for me, don't skip this. I think you're going to do yourself, I think you're going to find yourself quitting and starting a lot if you don't have a solid why you're trying to do this.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for us, it was our house that we moved into recently. And it really came down to focusing on the bigger picture. So, and if you're sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, a house? No way. I did too.
Yeah. And like, Amber, I want to come back to you on that too, because I want you to bring this up again, because we're going to share something here in a little bit that's, we have it titled, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I want you to share how long it took you guys to do that. And, it takes time to do the stuff that we're talking about here. There's no quick fixes.
No, not at all.
And I think that's the hardest part about what we're all doing here too, because we want that quick fix, right? We feel that immediate pain. We look at the mountain we're facing, and it's like, I just want this to be over right now. But believe it or not, the growth is in the journey. And that's the best part about doing what we're doing here, is that you're going to find so much about yourself, so much about your life by going through this journey and getting out of debt. So don't skip over that part too. But I want you to come back to that, Amber, because that's really, really important. The next tip is making a plan. We kind of talked about this. I kind of gave this one away as we started the show, but, really kind of, again, breaking down what you want out of 2021 into small bite-sized pieces. Break them down into monthly pieces. What can we accomplish every month to help us reach our big goal this year? Again, like we said, think you're here a year from now, 1 year exactly from right now. What does that look like to you? What does your savings account looks like? What do your credit card balances look like? What do your car loan balances look like? Pick something. Let's pick something and let's attack that this year, and then make a plan, break it down step by step so you can start to go after those small goals. The next area we got to talk about too is you've got to be aware. And I think for me, guys, and I'd be interested to see what you guys have to say about this, but for me, it was kind of eye-opening to realize what was preventing me from getting the results that I wanted was me. It was my fault. Like when I was broke and living paycheck to paycheck, I would always blame it on it was never enough money. I can never get ahead. It was always these outside things. But when I really started to sit down and do this stuff, I realized, like, wow, I'm the one that's actually overspending and making the stupid decisions that's gotten me to where I am. And once I became more aware of that, I started to take a lot more responsibility for my finances and where I was, and also more responsibility of where I wanted to go.
Oh gosh, we had the broke mindset until we sat down and looked at our bank statement, and we were like, "Oh, we make that money?" Like, yeah. And it's just going to food restaurants. What the heck are we thinking?
Very same for us. I mean, I think that's, one of the things that, one of the easiest things that most people, we've done this with our kids. Our kids have, kind of spent too much money on, they have debit cards as they get jobs and stuff. And hey, print out your bank statements, highlight everything you spent money on. And that is 100% eye-opening, and it sucks because it's literally like you said, Brad, it's you staring yourself in the face. Like no one took your credit, no one took your debit card or all the things and made you spend the money or wrote checks out of your checking account. You did all that. So it's hard. That's a painful experience, but it's also was probably one of the most helpful for us to say. Same thing, Amber. We spent how much going out to eat last month?
Yeah.
And the month before, like.
Yeah, and there's a lot of gold nuggets, especially like you said, printing out your bank statements and your credit card statements. That's a big job for a lot of people, a little scary, but seriously, it is so beneficial to do it. Like, print them all out, print out your credit card statements, go back as far as you can, and just get out your highlighters for an afternoon and just start highlighting and categorizing and looking at where all your money's going. And you'll be shocked. You'll be shocked to see how much money is there for you to start working on some of the things that you want to work on. And that's good news too for a lot of us that are listening to this show, is because you've got room. You've got things that you can change and tweak to help you start getting the results that you want to see. But it takes seeing the bad habits, right? And what a lot of times happens is we're spending money left and right, and we really don't ever go back and actually look at what we're spending now. We're just kind of living in the moment, right? And not really tallying and keeping track of where that money's going. The next area is a big one, and we've got a resource that's going to be coming up. I'm going to talk about this here a little bit later in the show, but you got to get yourself on a monthly budget. Like, this is just got to happen. And I know that the word budget can be like this monster, right? For a lot of people, the word budget means I'm broke, or I can't have any fun, or I've got to scrimp and save, right? And that's not what a budget is at all. A budget is literally just you putting together a plan to help you better your financial life. That's all. And it can include lots of fun. It doesn't have to include any fun if you don't want it, but it can also include fun. Like, it's permission to spend the money on what you want to spend it on. Guys, can you guys talk a little bit about how much budgeting has changed your life? Not only just when you got started, but even today. I mean, because we're still all budgeting. Like, we're still using a monthly budget to get to where we want.
Budgeting has saved my butt so many times because something will happen in the month and I'm like, oh my gosh, but I can go to my budget instantly and know exactly where I can get that money from. Like, I could take it from this spot and this spot, and we'll just scrimp a little bit on those areas. So it's really easy to be able to, save yourself when something happens, because it will.
I mean, kind of like you said, I hated it when we started it because I couldn't be my impulsive lunatic self with money. I couldn't just be like out at the mall or wherever and just buy something because it looks cool today. I had to kind of retrain my brain to say, it's not that you can't have that. It's just you can't have it whenever you just feel like having it. And for me, that was my big push against the budget for a while. Now it's just all we talk about. I mean, a budget doesn't mean you can't have things. It just means you can't just run around like you are now, spending money left and right. It just means you're planning for it. Like, this month, I'm going to buy X. Yes, you can do that. Budget for it, plan for it. You can then have it. It limits you from going into the store and just picking it up 3 or 4 times a month. Or if you're terrible like I was, I mean, we just bought stuff all the time. So,
yeah. And I think that's one thing you're going to fight against is, anytime you're getting on a budget, you're fighting against what marketing is saying, and that's have it now. Buy it now. Why wait? Nobody wants to wait, right? We have no patience in this country, right? We have none. We have zero patience when it comes to money and finances, because you can finance everything you can finance. So, a lot of people have just said, well, what's the point? Like, why would I want to wait? Well, again, when you're looking at 78% of people who are living paycheck to paycheck, and the majority of people admit that the number one cause of stress and anxiety in their life is money, that's why it's important. And that's why budgeting has to be a plan, or has to be a part of your plan. And the only part I guess I would agree with you, Ryan. I still don't like budgeting. Like, it's still not my favorite thing to do. It's not like I sit down with my wife and we're like, we get to do the budget. I'm just like so excited. No, I'm not at all. Like, people confuse that with me. Like, you just must love this stuff. And I don't, but I love the results. And that's why I do it. That's why you go through that pain. All right, guys, we're going to come back after the commercial break. We're going to share a couple more tips here to crush your finances here in 2021. Stay tuned.
Hey, if you love planners, this is for you. But do you know why planners frustrate me? Because they only really get it half right. Now, sure, they're really good and fancy about helping you manage your time, which is really important, obviously. That's what a planner's for. But where they get it wrong is money, the second most valuable resource in our lives. Most planners don't include any financial planning, things like, keeping track of paydays, Bills, due dates, spending, yearly expenses, budgets, cash flow planning, debt elimination plans, and goal planning, right? None of that stuff. That's a real pain. And then what? Then you got to create your own in some silly binder, right? And who has time for all of that stuff? So instead, what happens? Nothing, right? A lot of people tend to ignore their finances even more, and things only get worse. Well, that all ends today because I am so excited to announce and release my brand new, totally awesome Debt Freedom Planner. This thing's awesome, by the way. Now, before you say, Brad, I've already got a planner. This is not an ordinary day planner. This is the Debt Freedom Planner, which is a companion tool that works with your day planner, and it's built to help you manage your money, pay off more debt, and melt away financial stress. And I believe this is the tool that a lot of people who want to take control of their finances have been waiting for. So head on over to therealdebtfreedad.com, click on the Debt Freedom Planner in the menu to get access to your planner today.
Hey guys, we are back and we are talking about how to crush your finances here in the new year in 2021. And the next area we need to talk about is you've got to start thinking differently if you want to win. And as we were talking about when we were talking about with budgeting and marketing, is that this is probably one of the hardest areas for most people is breaking away from the mindset of common society, right? And how most people think about money and debt, and payments are normal. And, treat yourself, and living paycheck to paycheck is normal, and debt is normal, and you're always going to have a car payment, and credit cards are for emergencies, right? And just buying into what most people are doing with their finances. And that's really hard to break away from. Social influence is really, really strong. So, if you're around friends and family who aren't handling their money very well, it's really good chance that their bad habits are going to rub off on you. In fact, a lot of how we handle our money is how we were raised, how our parents handled money, and those habits were passed down to us. So, I really want you to challenge you in this coming year is how can you do this stuff different? Because it's really easy to kind of get sucked back into that normal way of thinking. In fact, for me, that's probably what took me so long to get out of debt is it was just me. It was easy to quit and throw in the towel and say, well, everybody else is doing this. Everybody else has a car payment. Everybody else is buying houses, and everyone else is using credit cards. And I would use that as an excuse, and I would do that in my own life. But yet I wouldn't get out of debt. And it wasn't until I finally just broke away from all of that and finally said, the heck with this, I'm not doing this anymore. That's when I really started to make the big results.
In our family, this was one of the hardest things that we had to do, to think differently, because it does not put you in the popular crowd.
No.
If you say to people, I'm going to get out of debt and live a debt-free life and not have any bills, you will have 8 out of 10 people look at you like you are nuts and talk to you like you're crazy. If you've listened to the show before, Brad and I are brothers. I thought my brother was crazy. My brother was the first one to say this probably 9-10 years ago. And I remember him telling me and me being like, you're crazy. That's stupid. Everybody does this. Everybody's got payments. Everyone has a house. Same thing he just said. I was that person. And so this is hard to break away from. But I agree. Once we broke away from that mindset, man, you can make a lot of things happen once you get out of that.
I wish I could go back and really pinpoint the day that happened, because I don't know what would have happened in my finances. It just would have been like, to heck with this, I'm not doing it anymore. But it had to have been a big thing, like reaching a certain savings amount or paying off a certain debt, or maybe it was a certain feeling for me. And I wish I could go back and remember the moment where I was just like, I just don't care what anybody else thinks anymore about this. Like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make it happen, because it was life-changing. It really was, and it still is today. Like, one of the best feelings in the world is not caring what people think. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty freeing, not only just from a financial standpoint, but just from a personal standpoint as well. It's pretty cool.
For us, it was a lot about realizing that we were living a life for other people. Like the cars I bought, the homes I bought, the stuff I bought, the things I posted on social media. I didn't do it for me, and we didn't do it for us. I did it for other people's opinions and approvals. And it was that was kind of like our wake up call. Like, what why do we care where someone thinks I live? Like it really, that really for us changed our mindset of we're living our life for others and we're not even living our own life.
We're getting deep on this show. I love that though. It's good. That's good. So next area we want to talk about, we kind of brought this up when we were talking about Amber and her house, is that it's a marathon and not a sprint. And this is, again, another hard area because we go back to what marketing is saying. We're going back to what these messages we're hearing in today's society, and everything is, fix your life now. Get results in a week. Get results in 30 days for a low price of, $19.95, right? That's what we're sold. Like, you can magically change your entire life in a short period of time. And yes, you can make great progress in a short period of time, but you're not going to undo years of bad financial decisions and bad financial habits in a matter of just a few months. It's not going to happen. And for a lot of us, it's probably going to take a few years to get out of the situations that we're in. So you've got to commit to that. You got to understand that this is going to be a marathon, and just embrace that idea. Don't ever think for a second that it's going to take a short period of time. It's always going to take longer than you think it will. Believe me, it will. Oh my
gosh, it does.
It does.
And halfway through my paying off our debt, we had talked to a realtor friend, and she goes, "You don't need 20%. You could just do this now." And I'm like, "No, but I'm paying off debt." And I'm trying to tell her what I'm doing. And it got in my head, and other people too. And then I'm seeing friends buy houses and different stuff. And halfway through paying off our debt, I'm like, we're close enough. Maybe we could do this, and we could just get the house and then keep paying off our debt. I am so happy we did not do that. Like, being in this house now and then doing some of the updates and repairs that we've done, I'm like, we would have been way back in debt, probably more than we were when we started. So as hard as it was to say no, I'm so happy I did. And if you're going through this and you're just like, but I don't even know where to start, or I need a new car, or, kind of focus on what really matters to you and how are you going to make that happen to get the success that you need? Because in the long run, you're going to get what you need and want if you just focus on it.
The payoff is so worth it.
Oh, it is.
It's so worth it. And now you guys, we were Facebook messaging yesterday, and now you guys are talking about, you guys are starting to save. You guys are going to be able to start to save a big amount. Like, it's life changing, and the payoff is just worth it. So just commit to the fact that it's going to be a marathon. The other thing I want to mention too, guys, we did have someone in our Life Without Payments Facebook group. By the way, if you're not a member of that, make sure you check it out. It's a free group. Just search Life Without Payments in Facebook. But we just had somebody comment about this yesterday. And Ryan, I know you saw this, but someone had said, I'm a little bit older, and, we're in some, and again, I'm summarizing this post, but, I'm a little bit older, and, we're struggling with our finances, and is it even worth it? Is it even worth it to take this, especially if it's going to take a while? Like, is it even worth it to do all this work? Like, why would I do all of this? And, Ryan, what would you say to that? Because you commented, and what would you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, I understand the mindset because I was there, so I totally get it. Now that I'm on the other side of it, it's what's the alternative, right? What's your other? What's the plan B that's going to make it all go away? Like, if you've got a plan B that's super easy, please let us know. I mean, we're happy to share that. But the reality is, if the plan B is to just keep doing what you're doing and be miserable and get to retirement and realize you have nothing, and then I don't know that that's a great plan. And so I think that's the big thing for me. And then I think it's never too late to start. This person was saying they're a little older. These days, especially, I mean, old isn't old anymore, compared. Right. I mean, when I was young and someone was 40, I mean, whoa, that guy's old. Now 40 is like pretty young, I mean, it's just to me, it just, I don't know. You got a lot more time ahead of you than what you think you have. The odds of you being around till you're 80 or 90 are increasing. And if you're only in 45, you got 35 more years in this world. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't, yep. you have a lot of time ahead of you. You got plenty of time to fix it.
I totally agree with that statement. It's never too late to start. And I've coached people who are getting ready to retire or are retired and on our limited income. It is not easy walking into that situation with debt and payments and no savings and like, don't do it. Okay. Their situations are terrible. And a lot of them don't have a lot of options. You do have options. If you can work, if you can make money, like, yeah, it's going to take some hard work. It's not going to be fun. It's going to be grueling, but you can get out of it. And you're going to thank yourself very much that you did. You seriously will. Next area is talking about making sacrifices, guys. And I think this is another big one. And, you know, we've grown into this society that, you know, we get too comfortable. Everything is comfortable. We have to have a comfortable car. We got to have comfortable chairs. We have to have comfortable couches, comfortable homes. We have to have a comfortable sized TV, right? I mean, everything's about being comfortable. And I think we've grown into this society that we don't want to feel any pain to get results. And it just doesn't work that way. Like, if you want to reach results, you've got to feel some pain. And exercising is a perfect example of that. Like, if you want to get fit, I don't care what kind of fitness level you want to be in. Like, you know, if you want to get fit, you have to feel some pain. Like, exercise is going to make you feel that pain. Like, there's no getting out of that, really, right? And when it comes to your finances, it's really the same thing. We talked about going back, looking at your bank statements. Like, what things can we start to cut out? What temporary pains can we feel to help us improve our finances right now?
As you wrap your mind around it and you get more into it, you start realizing the things you feel like it just starts to become not a thing. When we first started cutting out TV and all that, that was hard for us, like cutting the cable. But after a while, you start realizing, oh, I guess I don't need that. You know, and sacrifices, making sacrifices to get the results you want. It doesn't mean making sacrifices forever. It doesn't mean giving up going to your favorite restaurant once a week for the rest of your life. It means maybe you only do that once a month or once every 2 months for the next few years until you get out of this mess. Then you go back to doing that when you have the money. So this isn't a forever commitment of making these sacrifices.
No, and you know what though? Those sacrifices never really end as long as your goals are still growing. Because for us, we just made some sacrifices with, like, you know, our cell phone plans and different stuff like that. We're like, well, we really don't need to upgrade. But our savings goal is really big. So let's just not do that and live with old phones. Like, it could be as simple as that to also help you get out of debt. So just those small sacrifices, they add up huge and they will make a big difference.
Yeah, I agree. I think the small ones can be some of the bigger ones for sure. Yeah, especially when you start adding on time. And, you know, one of the things we've talked about this, I cut out cable many, many years ago, never got it back, or satellite, I think is what we had. And if I calculate over the cost, like it's over like $10,000 now in savings since we've cut that completely out of our budget. And this was long before cutting out satellite cable was really popular. There was no Netflix back then. There was none of that stuff. So, but yeah, those small sacrifices can really pay off. And the last one we want to share with you guys is to really challenge you too, is who can help you get there faster? Seriously, think about that. If doing it your way isn't working, what can you do to make this all go faster by getting help from outside sources? Obviously, you're doing that right now by listening to this podcast. It could be as easy as that. It could be as easy as picking up a book. This is what our company, Debt Free Dad, this is what we do. This is what we help people with. In fact, we've got a couple of different workshops coming up here very, very soon. In fact, we have a $7. It's $7. It's a live budgeting workshop that we're going to be kicking off. You can do this with me on January 10th through the 12th. And we're going to be doing a live workshop session and an actual Q&A session where you come on live with me on Zoom and we actually will go through and get your budget done. And the goal is to get your budget done for January for 2021, and then hopefully give you the resources to stay consistent through that throughout the rest of the year. So if you're struggling with budgeting for $7, like, I'm going to sit down with you, someone who's helped thousands of people save and pay off tens of millions of dollars, show you how to budget the right way in a way that's going to give you results. So that could be a way. We've got our Life Without Payments workshop coming up, which is basically going to give you a 30,000 foot view of the debt freedom success path that we share that's helped people save and pay off tens of millions of dollars. It's the same success path and the tips and things that we share on this podcast. That's coming up on January 17th through the 22nd. You can sign up for all of these. Just go to therealdebtfreedad.com. So again, I'm not pushing you that direction, but if you need help, help is out there. You don't have to do this on your own. I always think about this, guys, when we were kids in school, we were taught not to cheat, right? Can't cheat off somebody else's paperwork, can't cheat off somebody else's homework, but as adults, we can kind of cheat. Like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel of personal finance. Like, we've already done all the hard stuff and figured out the easiest ways to get results. Like, you just have to take that and now use the same recipe card in your own life and you can get the same results. Like, don't make it any harder on yourself, right? The resources are out there for you to get results. So take this tip along with all of our other tips, and this will help you crush your finances in 2021 and certainly helping you reduce a lot of financial stress in your life.
Hey, what's this I see? I thought this was a party! Let's dance!
All right, guys, as you know, that sound means it's time for the celebrations of the show. And we've been getting a lot of great feedback from you guys on these celebrations, and I know you guys are loving them. So we're going to continue that here in 2021. We're going to kick it off with Kelsey Wormsbecker. This is a great celebration that she had. I know she's working hard on this, but she paid off her collections bill ever so slowly, but she paid off $1,588.96. She says it is all gone, and she is finally caught up. That is a huge, huge win for her. Congratulations.
Stephanie Peterson, I started my snowball by paying off 2 debts completely, so now I have more cash flow starting next month.
That's awesome. Great job, Stephanie.
Gretchen Magura, I put $1,423 towards debt, $90 into my emergency fund, $20 into my home maintenance envelopes, $20 into vehicle maintenance, $50 into my trip fund, $50 towards my test fee, and $40 into my grocery envelope, $100 into my gas envelope, and still have enough money in my checking account to be able to refund envelopes next week. Yep. And this is just a cool story because I think this is someone who's been working, doing this. And this is where it starts really gaining steam. You know, you just kind of see the hard work starting to pay off. Because at the beginning, it's like, oh, I only have $5 left. What do I do with it? But as you keep working it, it's like, oh, it's starting to work now.
Yep, absolutely. Great win. And I love the fact that they break, and we talk about this all the time in our live meetups and Roots, but breaking down your celebrations, recognizing all the small things that you're doing the right way, that's going to gain momentum and motivation for you. So make sure you recognize everything. Don't beat yourself up over all the bad stuff all the time. Heather Chadwick, I was able to sell a couple more items on Facebook Marketplace and put that money into my emergency fund. My emergency fund is now so close at $950, almost to that $1,000 mark. That's great. Awesome job.
Shannon Verity Liardi called Verizon and removed my iPad from the account since 99% of the time I use it on Wi-Fi. Saved $20 a month.
That is awesome. Yep. We just talked about that, right? Just those little expenses. It's that leaky bucket, right? That's awesome.
Fadra Baker took off 2 monthly subscriptions from my bank account.
There you go. Yep. Just another one. And Jasmine Ziggity Zachary, we paid, by the way, that is an awesome name. Jasmine Ziggity Zachary. We paid $1,437 towards debt in the month of November. That is fantastic. What a great month going into the last month of December. Congratulations to all of you. These are some fantastic celebrations, and I can't wait to read all of these going throughout 2021.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with us here today. We love your feedback, and it also helps us grow our YouTube show. So please give us a like or leave us some honest feedback on this video. And if you want the latest from the show, obviously be sure to hit that notification bell and subscribe to our channel. And for the latest resources, or if you want more information on how to kick debt and financial stress, please be sure to check out the links in this video or head over to therealdebtfreedad.com. We'll see you guys on an upcoming show. Take care.